Anyway, name it off here. It's an open all the time when you face a weaker player in the big blind. Because even if small blinds over free bet a little bit, this ends prints money because they're all not going to free bet enough on the big blind. And so you can open way more here. Plus, I'm facing a small blind opponent who I don't think is going to be too reactive to this open. So he's an open. Okay, and he fold. Pocket kings here if you bet against Gonkarov with a Russian reg. The board is king 9 deuce, and you want to have multiple sizing here. Basically, in theory, you have like free size around. You don't have like clearly free size because it's type of boards where if you put like 10%, 15%, 5% pot bets, like they might be used at some frequency. I'll put you to see. So I think here it's best if, let me put the lights. Yeah, it's best if I use like between 1/3, 15% pot and half pot 3/4. You can also 1/3 range, it's completely fine. Okay, so I bet 1/3 here with kings. It's one of the hands that fits most with the small size. Because if I put this in a bit more in the 15-20% range, he's going to call more pocket pairs, and the pocket pairs are close to draw that against my hand, so and I block calls. So I think this thing is always in the bad category. It also blocks bets, but I need some kings in the 1/3 because if I have like 2 or 3 sides, the problem is if I don't put like 9 and the king in the side, like it's too easy to understand, and after I will can get raised a lot. Case king a3 bets, cut off call, ball is queen 7/7. So I'll play 1/3 here. On queen 7/7, as you can see here, this board is quite good for us. We are just going to range bet. If I put queen 7/6, we see that's a little bit different. Now the board is less great for you because Villain has more pocket sixes. And also the board evolve in a way that is more dynamic compared to other boards. So you have a lot of runnouts that will be better for top position players, which means you realize you could see a bit less well in the bet small line. So you'll have a checking range. Also, Queen X has now 5 outs, and on Queen 7/7, Queen X only have 2 outs against the all pairs. So it's why there is such a massive change on these boards. You can clearly have one size. I think it's not mandatory to have 2 or 3 size. I think the free bet board example, it does a lot of values to actually mix with 2 small size. But I think here it's just useless at all. So I'm just going to bet around 1/3 range will be my strategy. And even if you play like Queen 7/6, for example, and you range bet, the EV loss is quite small. So if I go to AI solve here, and I check what's the EV difference between a range bet strategy and a mixed strategy, we are going to see that the difference is quite marginal. So you can see that it's close. I know I put without a flush draw, but whatever. And now we're going to put the 1/3 strategy. And we are simply going to see how does the EV change. And now we're going to see that the EV is quite marginal. So I'm going to go here, compare strategy. And now if we compare both EVs, we see that we lose only 0.09, which is 1% of the pot. So the EV regrets is really small. Plus, you, in general, with simplified strategies, you overrealize your EV because most of the time, you are going to execute a strategy better when it's not mixed. So you're going to have in practice in the higher EV in this line. Also, people might do more mistakes facing range bets. So yeah, I think overall, just this strat is completely fine. Ball is queen 7/7. So I bet 1/4. Okay, whatever. I think 1/4, 1/1, fine. Enough diamond. Decided to open. Got 3 bets. I'm going to fall bet here at a decent frequency. I see too many players like snap calling and like pocket 9, pocket 8s, but actually against small blind range, it's already close. And if you play lower stakes, there's a high chance that most people are going to under 3 bet at this position. I think this guy 3 bet enough, like close to GTO. I mean, he played quite solidly pre-flop. So King 9 will be a mix. Let's see in theory how much we should fall bet King 9. So we're going to see what you should defend against 5x sizing. It's not going to be exactly precise, but still going to give us a good idea. Okay, so you don't fall bet that much King 9. I think in game I randomize it 20%. So yeah, a small mistake. I don't think it's a huge mistake in the spot because like the answer he should have is quite difficult to have. Like you should have some click 5 bet with ace 5, which is never going to happen. And if it doesn't happen, it means with the bottom region I overrealize my equity. And if you deal it ends like ace 5, ace 4, king 9 can be 4 bet as a higher frequency if I'm not getting counter exploited after. So I think in these spots when someone's betting enough, it's actually great to over 4 bet in this spot. So I just decided to 4 bets. I think I 4 bet like 22 blinds. It's my standard size. I probably can do 20, but I don't think it changed much to be honest. So yeah, it's fine. You folded. Okay. Look at it. I decided to call. Oh, you remember this hand. The board is queen 10. He bets small. I think he's range betting. So yeah, poker is just always going to be a call. Even if he range bets, it's actually a call. But it's important to know if he's range betting or not because it will change his turn strategy. I think it's quite easy to range bet on this board. So yeah, most people will do that. So nothing special to say here. It's not like ace eight deuce where he should have some check anyway. Another question you might ask yourself in this spot a lot is, okay, what should I do with my hand when I hit on the river? Do I solo play or not? There's two main factors, and the second one is the most important. The first one is the removal effect that you have. So you need to understand that your hand, depending on the removal effect it has, needs to change his action. So for example, if I have pocket eights here, I'm going to wonder, okay, do I block his calling range and do I block his betting range? Here, when I have pocket eights, I actually block the check back region, okay? So when I check, he's going to check back less because 8-6 is not going to value bet when I check. So I know that I have hands that blocks the check back, okay? Do I block calls? Clearly, I'm gonna block some 8-6 that now can call on the river because I'm not gonna bluff an 8. So we have a tricky spot where pocket is going to be close. And in general, in theory, you never want to like fully check a certain hand in these spots, and you're often going to mix, but because of the removal effect, sometimes you want to do an action more than another one. Because the best way to maximize your EV is, for example, to check these hands at 80% frequency. And the second factor, this is the main important, is what villain is going to do. So you need to estimate as close as possible what he's going to do, how he's going to play his air region. And I have no clue if people overbluff or not in these spots. I would tend to say yes, because if people like bet in these spots, in general, people never give up like 6i, 7i and stuff. So I think if you play low stakes, it's way better to check. And also, it depends on what he's calling on the river, because if he doesn't call the weaker region, it means that the main region you're going to value bet or ends that will bet from themselves, because it's mainly going to be 10x. So I think overall it's better placed as a check. And I don't think I randomized. I think I just estimated it was pure check. And yeah, this didn't block the bet check bets and it blocks the check back. So I think it's one of the best end to put in check. I think the strongest end I will have a bet or I think probably queen 10. Because when I have a 10, I'm blocking the ends he's going to bet with. So he's going to check back more. So I think if I have queen 10, everyone strong with a 10 wants to probably bet a bit more. So I think I will construct my range in a way that is super simplified. And I don't want to like mix a little bit queen 10, mix a little bit pocket X. I'm just going to wonder like what's the best strong ends to check, what's the best strong end to bet, and I will execute it all the time. I don't want to mix frequencies here because I don't think it's needed, because the way he can counter that is really, really difficult. Like he needs to specifically study what I do in the spots and just adapt his bluff catching region in this spot. But nobody is doing this even at like 5k. So yeah, I think it's better. Let's see what the solver is doing. Okay, so the board is queen 10, and as you can see here, you have a checking region. I think most people are going to range bets, and I think if most people are going to range bet, I actually prefer exploitively to check most of my strong ends. But in practice, if I play against strong players that know that he can't bluff every ends like this, I think it's fine. Because the way population will play in mid, like basically 500 NL and lower, is they're going to see bet on the entire range on the flop. And on the blanks, they will tend to check too much their region. And so they are often going to have a bit too many bluffs, so check should be a bit better. Anyway, facing small bet here, pocket 8 is always a call. It's never going to be a raise. Turn went check check, and the river came an 8 because we are super luck box. And with pocket ace now we see that actually we are mainly betting, but we don't bet the bigger size. However, a queen 10 now, as we analyze it, it needs to bet and often going to take the bigger size. So why is not 8 pocket eights not checking? Pocket ace can also be in the betting line. As we see, it's going to be close anyway, and it's great to have pocket eights also to protect the weaker region. And it's also a great end to be in the smaller size, because when you bet small with pocket eights, you let him to raise basically with the range that you can value bet if you overbet. That's why this hand is not in the big size, because he's gonna raise queen X. That's exactly what we want. And also, theoretically, he needs to raise a 10. So if we bet really big, we're going to value a range that we are going to raise when we bet small. And so we are going to take close to an equal amount of money against this sense that we are raising, and we let the air region bluffing. So small sizing or check is way better with pocket tens. To be honest, if you bet small, I think people don't trust with Jack 10. So yeah, I'll just tend to play as a check. I think it's better. You'll play lower stakes. And as you can see, you're mainly going to bet all the time Queen 10. And as you see, when you check, this is the reaction he needs to do. And that's why I think I will play all my valuations a check, because most people don't understand that they actually need to bluff with a like good blocker effect. And that's why you can see hands like King X bluffing, because the king is blocking a bit more the calling region compared to 7-5, which is often going to block the weaker region of a range. And that's why 7-5 is a bad bluff and King 7 is a good bluff. You can even bluff then like Ace 3, which sounds super surprising. But the thing is, like, with a 3 of spade and ace of spade, you're actually mainly blocking calls. And so the EV of the bets is close to the EV of the check. And that's the reason why you give up this spot. But I think a lot of players, probably not in 5K NL, but was like always going to bluff and fire with this hand. And when this is happening, obviously you're going to check a lot more. And you're not going to bet small pocket eights, especially because when you bet small, I don't expect bluff from this end. So I like the way I played, and I think if you play your lower stakes, the best line should be check close to your entire value region. Just because even when you have a queen, I don't think people raise a 10x that much when you bet small. And pocket eights, facing bets we are raising. Interesting the sizing we need to do. I think, oh, to be honest, if you play middle of stakes, just raise like 11 or 12 because people don't call the check raise. I'm not going to do that as a stakes. I'm gonna play more balance, but yeah, I think if you play lower stakes, just raise small because people don't really have a queen that much, and you just want to get called by a 10, and a 10 is only going to call a smaller size here. King queen off here, 3-bet. The guy call out of position. And again, I'm gonna range bet even if it's not a range bet. It's funny because I show you Queen 7-6. I didn't remember it was a ball that was really similar. And obviously, when you play at this position, the earlier the position you free bet with, you free bet, the tighter the betting range will be. So if I put the same board button against cutoff, I'm going to have more bet on the button compared to hijack against UTG here. Again, walk out the range, walk well, he called. I think I did the mistakes on the turn. I remember I randomized this king queen specifically because whenever king of heart, I'm actually blocking the ends that will bet the river when I check the turn. So whenever ends like ace queen with a heart, I'm mainly gonna bet because he's going to bluff a bit less on the river. But I think I need to have a club if I want to bet. And I remember I randomized, but I don't remember how much I randomized. Yep. And I think it's quite close. It's really close. It also depends how he plays his sets and his nutted ends facing bets. Yeah, that's super close actually. Let's put in this in the solver. First small flop, he call, turns 9, check. No, it's actually a bet. Okay, I didn't remember that. I think I didn't see him the end before. But yeah, you mainly needs to have a club and you can bet with a heart sometimes. So it's not a mistake. Yeah, it's not a huge mistake. And as you see here, you check more the king queen without the heart here. You bet ace queen. It's not exactly the same logic with the ace of heart because he's going to bluff less the ace of heart compared to the king of heart. and you bet ace queen, but without the ace of club, because now you unblock weaker hands that are going to call. So you prefer not to have the ace of club, which is different of the king of club. Okay, what else? You bluff ace king. You bluff mostly with the ace of hearts. You're gonna have some bluff with king jack, king 10. The reason why you check all the time in like king 10, close all the time, and you bet in like ace 4, for example, is just a matter of equitization. Queen 10 has a good equitization in checking 9 because when you check back, a king or a 10 is often going to be really great. Whereas if you bet on the turn, you hit a 10, it's going to be less good in average. So you have a decrease of your equity and a decrease of your equitization. Whereas ace 4 in the checking 9 is not that good. So in the betting line, the equitization decreases, but not as much as king 10. So it makes the bet a bit better. It's not exactly that, but to simplify, it's what happened. That's why you bet more like zero equity hand here. It's also a matter of not being raised, but that's really not the main concern. The concern is about the decrease of your equitization in the betting line. Okay, so we bet 3/4 here. Let's see what he needs to do. It's really important when you work on the solver just to see like what he needs to do with his value gains, because it can really help you a lot understanding what you should do facing what most people will do here. Okay, he needs to fold a lot of tens and jacks and call a lot of pocket 8, pocket 6s. He needs to fold actually pocket 6s. I think that most people never fold pocket 6, pocket 8. That's why I bet here explosively. That's why I randomize, because I think it's better to bet compared to check facing against a human. I'm not entirely sure, so obviously I'm going to play a bit more balanced, but I think most people overcall in the spot. Yeah, so I bet 3/4, he fold, cool. A7 open, 3-bet 9-7 off against Manuel. Really strong player. I think he's really underrated, by the way, because we don't talk too much about him, but he's playing like close to every day. And he's good in the dynamic, you know. Sometimes I like to do like going into special line, and he guesses quite well what I'm doing sometimes. So, yeah, funny against him. Okay, against Gonkarov, we are playing heads up. I'm not leaving the table, I think. It really depends. Like if I'm in the morning and this is the table where the next VIP is going to come, I'm never leaving, close to never, because I can just wait and then a VIP will come. But the thing is, if there's not too many players watching the game, I know that if a recreational player is coming, I can have the seats easily, and I can even have a better seats than the seat I have right now. So I'm going to battle if I play like afternoon, night, and I know that there are like 10, 12, 15 players watching the table, and they can click way faster than me, because some of them have script. And then I will tend to play. But now I think I'll just sit out. Especially because I don't really manage well the strategy, so I just prefer to sit out. Queen 10 here, it's up, small bet, check, bet big. I think it's super standard. If I remember correctly, he had Jack 7, and this is always a call. Can even raise sometimes. Okay, he's king. I 3-bet, he decided to 4-bet, jam, standard. If I remember, I think he had ace king. Yeah. Nice. Okay, remember well. And Queen 10. Yeah, I think he has 10-7 of diamond. Now Jack 6. Okay, I was wrong. Yeah, that's always a call. That's a good call on the flop. Yeah, so well played. Okay. Okay, that's really great. We're in position. I play this guy at NL20K and also NL40K. Yeah, I play some NL40K. It's all action, by the way. Yeah, I have my full action for 50K NL, 10K NL, but for 20K NL, I sell 50%, and for 40K NL, when I play it, I sell 75%. So if you're interested to buy actions, by the way, you can. I still sell like small pots are available. So yeah, and I obviously always play when there's a virtual player. I'm not playing against Rex. Mainly because I don't have any egos, and also because I'm here to win money, not to show that I have the biggest dick in the room, you know. Ace Queen here, 3-bets, board King for deuce. You can just range bet again here, even if you play at positions where the equity advantages start to be a bit lower than small earnings button, especially when I 3-bet this size, but it's still okay to bet for small size. You fold? Okay. Ace 10 off, 3-bet again. I think I 3-bet like 4 or 5 times. And he actually reacted well. Like when this happened, just understand that the other guy has just good aims. Like nobody's going to start randomly 3-bet king deuce suited. You know, I'm never gonna do that. That's why you don't see at these limits people like leave limits themselves and four betting, like around the mains. Okay. I'm gonna bet small again with ace 10. Wow. Can I show this on YouTube? Yeah, I made an explodey fold. Okay, so I should never fold this, but this opponent free bet a bit less, the big blind. And like I did some simulation in the spots of what I should defend depending on which percentage and which range also. Because if you free bet like 11% of merge range, it's not the same as like 11% of free bet polar range. And against this guy with this rake, I estimated that it was a bit better. Also, there's a reason why I play faster here, is because if we pay attention to the table, this guy comes and I know he's leaving quite fast the table and he doesn't have any action. So even if my hand is slightly profitable, in terms of Oli, I actually make money by folding and let him be on the hand and at least start playing. And I see too many players. They play heads up. There's one recreational player is coming, and they play like a hand that is like 3 minutes. I mean, please, please, just play faster because the guy is just gonna leave, and it happens probably 20%, 25% of the time, and that's why you will see sometimes you see playing these games. I play heads up against a guy waiting for a recreational player, and recreational players coming. I'm playing super fast because I have more EV to let him come into the end. Otherwise, he can just leave, and that's the problem. Ace 10 free bet again, bet small. As we said, he fold king 8 open, fold king queen, free bet again, fold. Okay, ace 10 open. Okay, this guy call. I will check my own range on the flop against a recreational player. Probably not the overpair region. I think overpair is a bit better as a bet, but it's really close. Depends on the guy, and the guy is quite passive, so I'm gonna bet in value and check my bluffs because we might think, oh yeah, but if he's bluffing, I mean, if he's passive, why you don't bet your bluff? Because if he's passive, he's gonna bet his nutted region and his strong region, and he's gonna check his weaker region. So I have way more incentives to play the delay, because the range that will fold on the flop will check on the flop and fold on the turn. So I don't have any incentives to bet. Okay, turn is a king. It's quite close here. I think I can do both. I prefer to check here, and the river I can bluff. And yeah, I did my favorite move here. I think if you know me and you watch my videos since a while, I think you understand what I'm planning to do here. When I click on this chip with my right hand, yeah, here we're in a situation where his range is completely capped. He doesn't have any two pair hands that can call a big size. And yes, I have some stolen value with ace 10, but I think he's literally folding 1% of his range when I bet big. So I decided to go for big sizing, and I actually went for a really big sizing as I jump here in this spot, 10x spot. And when you think about it, what is he going to call with? Like he needs to have a slow play, and this guy is not going to slow play. And even if he can, it's such a small amount of his range that I think if he's slow playing, it's even great actually to jump. So yeah, and he folded. It's really a move I advise to do. Obviously, don't do it all the time. A great move, like this move is working all the time at even SPR like 13 or 15. It's when you play small blind against big blind. As there's a bet on the flop, okay? So the pot is around 10 blind. Go check. Flush in on the turn. You're on the small blind. You check. Big blind check. Okay, so small blind against big blind single spot. Flush in on the turn. River blank. You go all in. I never get called. Never. Like I don't do it against in strong opponents in 1K, 5K, 10K, 20K, but at version cash 200 when I do videos, I never get called. Like and I say that since 2 years or maybe 3 years I'm doing videos. It's been 2 years actually. In the English channel. But I never get called to sign, and if I never get called with my nickname, you will never get called either. So yeah, just try to do that. Especially if you play like NL50, NL25, it's gonna work massively. Maybe you don't need to jam, but jamming is working quite well. Okay, King Jack open, facing call. This one is really interesting. Really interesting. I check. And I face an half-pot c-bets and one call. And I know it sounds crazy, but if you don't have any plans to c-bet bluff, I think Yeah, I know it's crazy. I know some of you start to write comments. No, I think you can actually fold. Because if you play against a tight guy, if you think about it, like rationally, what is he betting with? I'm not saying it's a fold here. I'm never folding, and I think folding is a mistake. But let's say you play lower stakes and you play against like a tight guy in position. What is his betting range? King, queen, eights, fours. That's all. He can bet such small as half pot. It will still be his range. And I think here we overestimate the EV we have with our king sense. And if I have king nine, I'm already folding already because even if big blind is calling, I don't think I have enough incentives to call with this sense, especially because facing big blind calling range, I have less equity, and I think the butting range in position is super strong. However, here I think I can bluff easily clubs run out when this guy check and this guy check also on the river, so I'm not folding instead I can bluff later. But it's here the EV is way closer than you think here, especially because if he has a balanced range, the EV is already not that high. And if he's betting too strong and he's too like pocket 8, pocket 4 oriented, I'm going to lose way more here. Especially because he can also have king queen. But because he can flat like king 10, king jack, I'm never folding here. Or this against tight guy, I really don't mind folding the flop, even if it sounds crazy. Okay. King jack, I check the turn. Goofy check. Check from the big blind. I check obviously with king jack here, nothing else to do. And he bets 600. And I think he can only bet flushes with this size. Because when we think about it, like, let's think about it. When I have aces in the spot, I'm gonna range check three-way. Because on this board, so if we talk a little bit about the post flop multi-way solve strat here. So here the theoretical strategy should be to either like bet super small or check. I don't have any big bets. I'm going to see bet at low frequency three-way. And I think this game multi-way, like this texture is not a texture where you want to have a polar size that much. For both like king 8-7, for example, is going to mainly use the big sizing on the flop. But otherwise, I think the main size should be 1/3 as well. Like when he also oversized a little bit on the flop, makes me wonder like his range might be a bit too strong. Anyway, so aces here will always arrive in this line. I'm not going to raise on the flop because I'm just going to isolate myself too much against strong equity hands. And now when I have aces, do I want to bet the river? Like, why do I value bet? Nothing. I value bet nothing with aces. So aces will always be in the chicken line because the only hands I can value are sets. And that's all. And big blind doesn't have sets at call. It's going to be rare. Like, and sets that play as a call and bet on the rivers are really rare. So I will tend to like, so I'm probably gonna check like kings, aces. And facing bet here. Especially because when I have aces, actually, I can play as a jam. Because if I have aces with a club, like ace king with the ace of club, I think I've played really well as a jam. I would prefer to have aces because in this exact spot, Alex called, actually. And when he called, I want to unblock calls. So I don't want to block king 5, king 8 suited and stuff. So I'm gonna bluff aces most of the time. Yeah. It's gonna be my bluff. I probably need to find was a bluff also, but whatever. And now I think with king jack, I thought about raising in game, but I think there are too many nutted flush. I think this guy is always going to raise nut flush, and I think this guy he's often gonna bet nut flush on the turn. But I'm bluffing super strong range here. Like in game, I was like, these two guys have flushes, even if they don't have too many combos. Even if there are not too many flushes combo left, especially when one guy has flushes. So I probably don't have both flushes. But yeah, the range is too strong. So we have obviously now full. I'm just thinking about raising. And he had pocket eights, and I think I don't like it because what is bluffing with? He needs to bet small with pocket sixes on the flop and bluff the river now. And when I face with this size and I have ace king, I'm never beating any hands actually. He just has the slow play. Because he's not gonna bet half pot three-way with pocket sixes. So I'm gonna fold ace king. And if I'm folding ace king, he doesn't value bet anything. And so I think I will prefer to check. And also, like, let's play in Alex choose. Let's say you have a flush draw, you call on the flop, and you have a lot of flush draws actually. On the river, do you want to bet? Which range do you value bet with a flush? Flush, set, straight. Does people bet set and straight? Yes. So you're gonna check. Because if you value ends that will bet from himself, just check. Let them bluff, and also you can check raise and put more money into the pot. So I think here the best play with Goofy is just to check back because the number of flushes in both ranges is too high. Yeah. Okay, he bets and he get called by 9-6 of club. I think 9-6 played perfectly. Yeah, nothing to say. We like the play. Okay, so let's continue. Queen 9, very interesting hand. I think it's the most interesting hand of the session here. So the board is 9 deuce. You open King 9, King 9, you face a call. I think the calling range here will be quite strong. Like this guy will definitely have tens and jacks, especially facing a weaker player in the big blind. I mean, he's weaker, but it's not that bad. I think he will often prefer to call a stronger region. So on the flop, out of position, I'm just going to range check. Again, you prefer to range check. Okay, I'm gonna talk about the ace a little bit after. So on the turn, he bets big. And here, I think again, most people, I'm not gonna fold much because I just expect them to like bet for a little bit too much river. However, in this spot, when you think about it, like his value range is all the time pocket nines, pocket tens. I don't think he's going to do any check with his hand on the turn. And he's gonna have pocket jacks. And I don't see any other weaker hands. Like obviously he needs to have some king 10, ace 10, but if he doesn't stab much on the flop, like his range is a bit too strong. So yeah, I'm gonna call the turn and yeah, on the river I was thinking about bluffing, but it sounds like a really shitty idea actually when I think about it. And what I think he sees through barreling region is like he's gonna have some ace 10 of spade, but if he doesn't stab another 10x region, he just have tens and nines too much. So I think if we want to bluff, we just don't bluff with his hands. Yeah. I think we just need to bluff 10-9. This is so sick, but when we have 10-9, we block the 10x value region and he's gonna have mainly jacks. And when we jam, we block tens and nines. I think I'm bluffing 10-9 all the time. Yeah. That's sick. Yeah, so good fold here. Took the right decision. A6 open fold. Okay. King Queen I open. This hand is quite interesting also. Open, get called. Flop is ace, king 5. Oh yeah, the ace 10, sorry for that. Yeah, nothing special. When he check this board, Stefan Santomir, he has a YouTube channel by the way. Hi to him. When he check back this board, so this board should be played half. He can also play bigger bets because 7-6-3 is not like 6-5-3, 6-5-4. And I will free bet sometimes 5-4. I don't have too many hands that have strong equity on this board. So with the overpair region, he can still make a big size, even run pot. And on the 4 of club, it's a good card for me. And you have multiple strategy you can play. You can play one for range. Typically, you can have two sizing here. We check. I think playing small you enter range is working super well. So that's gonna be my default strat, I think, here. Yeah. And I'm just playing one blind range here. And it's going to be really tough for them to counter here. I'm not going to put the detailed strats because it's going to take a bit too much time. But I think I will put the analysis of this end maybe in the Discord. You have the link in the description. So join the Discord yeah, that's all. Join the Discord. You will find information for live monitoring. I contact everybody for the beginning because I want not too many people, of course, at the beginning to have like a quality coaching monitoring. But if you're a live player and you're interested to just win way faster and win bigger, and you're like serious into the game, you can postulate, and we'll come back to you quite soon. And that's only for live players. If you want to transitionate, you can postulate. But if you want to mainly improve online for the moment, maybe change when I will release this video, but I don't think so. I'm mainly focusing on developing the live product. Okay. A6 off, fold, king queen open, goes check check. No need to bet on the flop. On the turn, I don't like the check actually. I think it's a mistake. I always have the best 10. Because if he has an ace, he's not gonna raise. I'm not losing that much anyway. And when he has an ace, he's often gonna bet the turn. So like when I bet small, I reduce the amount he puts on in the pot with an ace if he wants it to bet. I just get called by like pocket five diamond. Yeah, that's a really big mistake. I don't know why I checked. The biggest mistake of the session. It's just bad. Just bet one first, just better. And on the river now, yeah, check or small. Okay, yeah, that was a review originally. That's why I say some stuff. I think I say that like when you bet 90, you get called by pocket pairs. Um, yeah, I was explaining that the bet turn is better. Um, yeah, whatever. Doing some cool sketch. And the river should be a check. I don't have enough equity to bet. And facing bets. Yeah, I really play this in shitty. Like, he doesn't have an ace, but he doesn't have a bluff. I don't think he's bluffing in the spot. It sounds super like intuitive to call because we might say, oh, he doesn't represent anything, so I'm gonna call. I think this profile is not bluffing at all. So I'm just gonna face the super low frequency queen 10 or something like this. It's so tough to not be rigid talented in the spot because maybe he's bluffing all the time, like 7-8 and stuff. I don't think I can fold, honestly. Like without being rigid talented, I think there are like too many airs and the number of value combos are too low. So I actually like the call. I lost, but I like the call. Have queen 10. Queen 5 open against the weaker player. Okay, king 3 I call. Check. On the turn I'm gonna play polar here. Technically you can have two sizings, but I think it's great to play only with one. I'm gonna trick spot or check on this turn to bet polar. Only you don't have any hand that wants to bet for a small size. Yeah. And facing check, my end is always a check fold. Nothing else to do. The king of spades is gonna block some check bets in bluff, and I'm not blocking enough value in, so yeah, this is a mandatory fold. I don't need to fold more than MDF here, by the way, to not get exploited. King 9 on ace 9 free. I bet small on the flop. I'm gonna mix with this hand, and on this board I'm gonna bet 70% of the time. I'm not range betting. I think if you play raw stakes, range betting is completely okay. King Jack I open, check on the flop, okay, check the turn, and check. Yeah, nothing special. Anyway, so hope you like the video and see you for the next one. Bye guys.